Did you pass your theory test or did you pass your theory test? Let me just explain that statement. I'm getting a lot of messages from you guys on emails, Instagram, even the guys come into my classroom, help me pass my theory test. You guys are seen as a means to take your driving test. And a small majority of you are seeing it as that you need this information during your driving life. Now, what I'm going to try and do is get you to understand why you need to understand the theory test. I understand it's a hassle, I understand you got to pass it, but you are going to need it during your driving life. So let me explain. Here's a copy of one of my pupils' theory test certificate. Remember, I teach my pupils to understand the theory test, because if you understand it, you are going to pass it. It's the same way when I teach them to drive, I teach them to understand how to drive safely, because if you drive safely, come test day, you do the same thing, you're going to pass. I do not teach my pupils to pass a test, theory test or driving test or any other test. Understand it. The understanding is going to make you pass anyway. So here's the copy of the theory test certificate of my pupil. So as you can see, they have passed the theory side of it and they have passed the hazard perception side of it. Let's move on in the video and we'll come back to this later on. So you have now passed your theory test and you have booked a driving instructor to take your driving lessons to get you ready for a driving test. You are driving along, you miss a road sign that leads to a serious or dangerous situation. Your instructor had to help you out. So what they're going to be doing is going to pull you over to the side of the road to explain in detail what happened and how you can improve. But they ask you, what does the road sign mean? You don't know. But hold on a minute, you've just passed your theory test. Let's go back and look at that sheet. On closer inspection, you got 2 road signs wrong. Was it one of the signs you got wrong that the instructor had to pull you over and explain? So as he's explaining this to you, you're sitting there in the car, all you're hearing is blah, 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 blah. And you're thinking, why is he explaining to me about the theory? I've already passed this stuff. Why don't he just tell me what the sign means so we can carry on driving? He's trying to get more money out of me, which is common. So eventually the instructor gets their point across and you carry on driving. As you can see, because you didn't know your road signs, you are now spending more time at the side of the road for the instructor to explain the theory side of it, which you've already passed. That's why you need to understand the theory, because you're going to need it for your driving lessons. Let's fast forward to your driving test day. So after waiting 3 to 6 months, depending on what the waiting time is in your area for a driving test, you turn up on test day, the examiner comes out, calls your name. What you must remember on test day, the examiner is not asking you any questions about driving, road signs, road markings. This is where you're going to drive on your own for the first time, making your own decisions, while the examiner sits back and watch and observes how you interact with other road users and use your theory knowledge. So you are now driving along, looking for your road signs, road markings, but you don't interact with a situation well, you didn't understand the rules of the road, you miss road signs. You fail your driving test. Why did you fail your driving test on rules of the road? Road signs. Let's go back and visit that theory test certificate sheet. Remember, you have passed. This is the box the examiner will mark these situations in. Remember, if you understand your theory, this shouldn't be a problem because you know it already. So you've booked another driving test after failing the previous one, and let's just say at some point you pass your driving test. You now want to go and buy your car. What do you need from the theory side of it to buy your car? Documents. Cover note. Do you know what a cover note is? Do you know what type of insurance you need? Do you know what third party covers? Do you know MOT? Do you know statutory off-road notification? These are all documents. Do you know what the legal requirement for your tires are? These are all theory test related stuff. You've now passed your theory test. You've passed your driving test. You're now buying your car. You're still using the theory side of it, because if you don't know your documentation, What you've got to realize, some of this will carry points or fines. Let me know in the comments how many of you knew that you are on 2 years probation after you passed your driving test. No, not that type of probation. I'm talking about 6 points. If you get 6 points or more in the first 2 years of passing your driving test, you're back to square one. Guess what square one is? Yeah, theory test. You got to do it again. And then you got to do another driving test. And you have to declare all of this to your insurance company. So when you pass the second time round, guess what? Your insurance is going to be sky high because you lost your license for a bad thing. No one loses a license for a good thing. So your insurance company is going to hit you in the pocket. So my advice to you guys is study the theory test to understand it. Because if you understand it, you go in to pass anyway. Also, when you do your driving lessons, understand to drive safely. Because when driving test day comes, guess what? You're gonna pass anyway. Stop using the theory test as a means to take your driving test. Remember, you need 43 to pass. If you get 43 out of 50, you got 7 questions wrong. Still visit those categories. Still keep the study up after you've passed. Trust me, it's going to save you time, it's going to save you money, it may even save you a license once you pass your driving test. Hopefully you got some value from this video. If you did, like, comment below and subscribe. YouTube's going to show you a video here, I'm going to show you a video here. Go and watch which one's relevant to you, and I should catch you in the next video.